through Fox to Sam in jail in New Hampshire.
Yeah. Well, now, are you able to talk about the strategy your lawyer is advising you to take, and kind of tell us how you're fighting this and what you're doing to get the word out about what's happened?
Sure. So I've been appearing on a number of local radio shows in Keene, also on a nationally syndicated Free Talk Live show, talking about the details of the case as it kind of unfolds. We've been filing demurrers. We've filed 9 writs of habeas corpus in the Superior Court as well as the Supreme Court.
Let me just interrupt you, Sam. Do you have a legal team that is representing you in the court system in New Hampshire?
Well, I don't want a lawyer because, again, the lawyers, I kind of have a problem with that because they're going to go back the next week with different clients before that same judge, and if they do something that judge doesn't like, he's going to tank their cases and could literally end their career. So in New Hampshire, there's a law that says any citizen of good standing can represent somebody as their counsel, and so I have a counsel who can put the tough questions before the court, who's not afraid to challenge the judge and stand up to him and say, no, this isn't lawful or right.
Have you or those representing you commenced any actions in any other courts, like a federal court in New Hampshire, for an order by a federal judge to release you from unlawful confinement?
We have not yet. So far, everything's been limited to the District Superior and Supreme Court in New Hampshire. We talked about going federal. I kind of shied away from that. I believe a tort letter is in the process or is in the works. My counsel also has a legal team backing her up that's kind of behind the scenes working on some of these motions and filings and so forth.
Sam Dodson, you are the incarnation of courage and patriotism and freedom. You're suffering so that a lot of good people might not have to suffer in the future. We wish you well. We want you to stay in touch with us. We'll follow the case, and we'll give it as much publicity as we can so that people can understand what has happened to you. Thanks for joining us, Sam. Good luck to you.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Shelley, any questions for me?
Well, let's see. So basically what we were talking about earlier is due process and kind of knowing your rights, and sometimes these rights aren't necessarily observed. Again, what advice do you have for people? You said earlier the camera is the new gun, kind of. Do you think that people should be going out and trying to capture more things on video and get the word out that way? And how can they do that safely and without getting entangled with the law?
Well, a camera is lawful even under the big government theories in any truly public place. In my opinion, even as an ex-judge, the camera is lawful in the public parts of the courthouse, like the courthouse corridor, which is where Sam was arrested. And it's certainly lawful outside the courthouse. But think of all the liberties that will be protected. Think of all the constitutional rights that will be preserved if the government knows that when it goes about its business, it's being watched by a camera. And then think of the opposite. The government spies on us all the time. There are cameras in every street corner in Manhattan. There are cameras in places where we don't even know of the places. But they work for us. How can the employee spy on the employer? We should be watching the police whenever they make an arrest, whenever they use the authority that the government has given to them. We should watch prosecutors when they decide who to prosecute and who to let go. We should even watch judges as they rationalize away our liberties. That's why I say the camera is the new gun. Stay with us, Shelley. We'll get back to you before we finish. Michael Moresco joins us now, who began in 2007 to pedal across the country to spread the message of freedom and to talk to people about the slowly eroding state of our freedoms. Michael, welcome to Freedom Watch.
Thank you very much, Judge. It's an honor to be on your show.
Thank you. Where did we find you, Michael? Where are you today?
Well, I am west of a town called Carlisle and east of a town called Fanitsburg. So I am in a cemetery now on a hilltop where I knew I would have cell service.
All right. You're in the state of California. What have you learned about people's
Pennsylvania.
attitude towards the government and human freedom?
Yes.
What's the message that you're getting from the folks that you meet as you pedal from the Statue of Liberty to Alcatraz?
Well, it's people really don't want to face what the country is turning to. It's a lot of people want to keep their head in the sand and think that everything is rosy. But if a person frames, I'm careful about framing the message right, and I slowly try to let them know that this really is fascism that's rising. And so, and if it's framed right, if I just explain that fascism is corporate government, it's government incorporated, it clicks in their brain, and they start to realize that things are worse than they want to admit. So it's all right.
And what do you normally do, Michael, that you're taking a year off in order to spread this message of freedom?
Well, I was in Hawaii. I was an audiovisual technician. So I would have been the guy turning the knobs on the sound mixers or on the video mixers in your studio or actually in industrial events, so a convention.
If you ever make your way to New York, you're always welcome in any studio where I'm working. Michael, good luck to you. It's an inspirational story. It's one of courage and sacrifice to spread the message of freedom. And from your friend from New Jersey, Judge Napolitano, thank you for helping Americans to stay free. Shelley, any last thoughts before we sign off to Eric Bowling?
One last thing, Sam has been blogging about some of his experiences in jail over at freekeen.com, and I would encourage people to check that out because there's some really fascinating stuff that goes on behind the scenes that most of us don't know anything about. So,
Shelley Roche, always a pleasure. Until next Wednesday, from Judge Napolitano at the Fox News channel, at foxnews.com, at the Strategy Room, at your favorite show, Freedom Watch. Until next Wednesday at 2 o'clock Eastern. Stay free.